Good morning and welcome to Fall 2019. Thank you. We're all growing old together, but this is the beginning of my third year. And I'm very thrilled to be with all of you this morning and to introduce and welcome us to the Fall 2019 semester. I hope your summer was good. I hope you had some time to reconnect with family, friends, refresh, and ready for the work ahead. I know for many of us, I've seen you, we've been here throughout the summer, but it's great to have all of you back on campus ready to go with the 2019 fall semester. This summer I had an opportunity to meet a number of alums, and I just want to share a few thoughts with you about meeting the alums. One of them is Dana Perino at Fox Studios in New York City. It was always good to reconnect with her. Dana takes great pride, she tells me all the time, in letting people know that she got her degree from Colorado State University, Pueblo. And she takes great pride in the reactions she gets, because it's usually, where is that? And people are a little bit confused. And she loves promoting the Regional Comprehensive University as laying the foundation for her success. And so she constantly reminds me to remind all of you, for those of us who work at Regional Comprehensives, how important that work is in providing opportunities for students such as Dana, who grew up on a ranch in Wyoming, and she credits her experiences here. I met another gentleman this summer while I was in New York. His name is Craig Fitzsimmons. Craig is a 1984 alum at the university. All he wanted to do was to be a crop duster his entire life. He grew up on a ranch northwest of Denver, and he liked our rodeo club, so that was one of the attractions, but he wanted to be a crop duster. So his major was in chemistry, and he took up flying because that's what he wanted to do. Today, he is the chief executive pilot for the Sony Corporation and runs a fleet of executive jets and pilots for the Sony Corporation. So I met with him in New York City. He is grateful for becoming a chemistry major, which made him able to do the work that he's doing today. Also, I met a young man who is my trainer on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. His name is Jacob Smith. He graduated last year. And what Jacob loves is all of a sudden I'm handing him money, and he looked at me and goes, "Oh my God, you're paying me." And he goes, "I used to pay you, now you're paying me." And the light went on in his head. And I go, "Well, Jacob, that's how it works. You get an education, and then you charge people for what you know." And to him, that was just the coolest thing ever. So I'm writing him a check for what he knows and what he can do. And I tell you, he's very good at what he does. And he told me that went on and on about the faculty he had at CSU Pueblo. And I know that Karen and Christine, both in the exercise science department, have been very influential in his life, and he talks about them, two of our faculty who are just really good educators. So that's what I spent a part of my summer doing, is just reaching out and meeting a lot of our alums and getting to know them and their stories. Today, I want to walk through, there's a lot to walk through, and so we're going to take a break halfway through and just do a stretch break, but we're together for 2 hours, and this is what it looks like. 3 big areas to our presentation today. I want to talk about some extraordinary people at this university and the work that they've done. I want to talk about some extraordinary results from that group of people and from all of us, and then talk about a campus on a mission, which is the title for this opening convocation. The work that we've done, and really where are we going as an institution. So it's really kind of a state of the university address. And then there's a pretty large call to action for all employees a little bit later on as we kind of move throughout this process. But before I get into the content, I want to thank and introduce a few individuals who are with us today, and I'm delighted to have them with us. I'd like to begin by thanking Brent Lorenz and his team of work study students who are responsible for setting this all up. Brent is in the back of the room. I appreciate Brent. Chris Fendrick. I know Chris Fendrick is with us. Chris has been very instrumental in today. Adam Pocius is with us today, and I appreciate the work that he's done. All the members of the Office of the President, All of them have done just an enormous amount of details to make today possible. And then, of course, our partner, Avians, who is always there to make sure that we're hospitable. So I want to offer a round of thanks to all of those individuals. I'd like to make some introductions. The President's Cabinet is a group of men and women that I spend a lot of time with, and we do good work together. We are a team that doesn't always agree, but we spend time reaching understanding and reaching a level of understanding through what I would call a good civil discourse and good facilitated conversations. But this is a group that's not afraid to speak up and to challenge appropriately, and it keeps us vigilant and on our toes. It's the members of the President's Cabinet. They're with us today. As I call your name, would you please stand? Todd Kelly, Carl Speaker, Marie Humphrey, Nikki Whitaker, Donna Souter-Hodge, Paul Polinsky, Chrissy Holliday, Mohammed Abdulrahman, Jonna Doyle, and Greg Hoy. These are the members of the President's Cabinet that I remain grateful to for their leadership and your hard work. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you. I have a President's Citizens Advisory Group consisting of around 16 community members that meet regularly with me to provide guidance. We share information with them. We seek their counsel. I believe I've got 3 of those members with me today. And I'm grateful that they're here. Dennis Mays, former judge in Pueblo, is with us. Judge Mays, would you please stand? Former school district member for District 60. We're delighted to have you with us. We have Carla Barella is with us today. Carla, president of Cortez Construction, and a dear friend, and both members of the Citizens Advisory Group. And behind Dennis is Dan DeRose, DD Marketing, a friend and a donor of our university. And I appreciate the 3 of them being with us today as members of the Citizens Advisory Group. Thank you. I want to make sure the CSU Pueblo Foundation Board, any members from the CSU Pueblo Foundation Board, Brandis? I didn't know if Brandis was, Brandis right here. Brandis Eislinger is with us. Brandis, stand up again. She's one of the members of the CSU Pueblo Foundation Board, does an enormous amount of work in raising money for the university. We're delighted to have Brandis with us this morning. And then there's a number of other, thank you. We've got a number of other community members with us today. I noticed it's always a pleasure to have the community with us. So if you're a member of the Pueblo community, not an employee of the university, but you're here as a Pueblo citizen, would you please stand? And I know I've got Taylor, Barb, there's several of you with us today as members of our community. We have 2 special guests with us today. You're all special. These are extra special. And they include 2 members of our Board of Governors. We have 9 Board of Governors. We've got a Chancellor, Tony Frank, and there's 9 governors appointed by the governor of the state of Colorado who oversee the Colorado State University system. We have 2 who are champions for Pueblo and for the CSU system, and they're with us today. Governor Jane Robb Rhodes. Jane, would you please stand? And our newest governor, Governor Russell DeSalvo. Russell. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to know that they are vocal advocates for CSU Pueblo and for our community, and they're not afraid to speak up and advocate on our behalf, and I remain grateful to both of them as well as the other governors. Do we have any students with us today? If you're a student at this university at any level, please stand for students. Jaime Huerta, and we have in the back, thank you. And Lee Templeton, we're delighted to have our students with us. My spouse is Rick Gonzalez, and he provides an enormous amount of support for me and to this university. Rick, would you please stand so we can recognize you? Finally, all new employees to the university since our last convocation 1 year ago. If you are new to the university, would you please stand and remain standing so we can offer you our welcome. So all brand new employees since our last convocation. Congratulations and welcome to all of you. Great, thank you. And one of the things I always talk about new employees that is really important is all the members of the search committees, because search committee work I consider to be the most important service to a university, is serving on a search committee and hiring our colleagues. If for anyone in the room who served on a search committee, for one of the new employees who just stood, would you please stand up if you served on one of the search committees? This is a lot of work. Thank you. So search committee work is, it's tough. And a lot of you do that work, and I remain grateful for that work. At this time, it's time for us to recognize some extraordinary people. I call these our stealth employees. These are men and women who do a lot of hard work. They prefer to operate below the radar screen. Last year we recognized, I believe, around 12, and we made them rather uncomfortable because I asked them to come forward and to stand on this stage with me, and I'm going to ask 15 to do that this morning. I hope all of them are here. But these are employees, again, who prefer to kind of operate under the radar screen. They do good work, and it's time for us to pay a little of attention to them and to reward them and to thank them. So we got a list of 15, and I'm going to kind of move through this list. I love this photograph. This was our first enrollment extravaganza. It was a beautiful summer evening, and I just enjoyed that. People talk about some extraordinary folks. That's a group of them right there. But we're going to start with our stealth employee, with our first stealth employee. And are we ready? Do you know who it is? It's Susan Bellport. Susan, would you please come forward? So this is how it works. When I call your name, come forward, and I'm going to start talking about you. But Susan Bellport is dedicated to the success of the graduate program as demonstrated by the outcomes of her work in supporting the existing Master of Science in Nursing program and the new Doctorate of Nursing Practice program. Although all of us see the results of her work, not much is known regarding the amount of time commitment that Dr. Bellport has made in the course of time. Her typical work week is 7 days, and her typical work day is usually very long. Therefore, this recommendation is indeed about her professional attitude in that she takes her professional responsibility as doing whatever is necessary and for as long as it takes to achieve the objectives of her academic unit. And what I know is that Dr. Susan Bellport served on our Board of Governors as the faculty representative and represented our university incredibly well, and is really going to play an instrumental role on the future of graduate education on this campus, which we're going to be investing in. And so I thank Susan for all the work that you've done with probably not a lot of recognition, and this is an opportunity for us to thank you for that work. I'm going to ask that you remain standing. Our next employee is Meg Brewer. Meg, would you please join us? Is Meg here? There she is. Meg Brewer serves, I know you're hating this. Meg Brewer serves as the budget director for CSU Pueblo and is being recognized for her extraordinary contributions in finance and administration. After receiving an undergraduate degree from CSU Pueblo, Meg has continued to be an integral part of the campus for 24 years and counting. Currently, she oversees all activities in the university's budget office as budget director. Meg can be counted on to provide impeccable customer service to all campus constituents, and she's often a resource for people seeking positive and personable assistance. Due to her endless breadth of knowledge about CSU Pueblo, Meg is able to solve problems quickly and efficiently. Meg has also taken steps to improve transparency on the campus, and office can be found working diligently on numerous projects at once. Meg is innovative and goal-driven, and her dedication to CSU Pueblo truly shines through in everything that she accomplishes. Thank you, Meg Brewer. Our next stealth employee is one that, if you don't know, it's time for you to know this person. His name is Donnell Liamidi. Coach Liamidi. He's joining us. So Coach Liamidi serves as the Thunderwolves defensive coordinator and works at a consistently high level while making significant contributions to the university in a manner that rarely gets recognized. He was named the 2018 NCAA Division II Coordinator of the Year and is beginning his 12th overall season and third year as the Pack's defensive coordinator. He's been CSU Pueblo's defensive backs coach since the program restarted in 2008. In 2017, he took the role of co-defensive coordinator before gaining the full reins of the defense in 2018. He was also the recruiting coordinator for his first 10 seasons at the university. In the fall of 2013, Coach Liamidi became ill and made 15 separate trips to the emergency room before he received a diagnosis of stage 4 pancreatic neuroendocrine carcinoma. He spent over a month in the hospital fighting for his life and endured 4 surgeries to remove large parts of his internal organs. He continues to battle every day with the strong spirit of a fighter. Because of this, the weight room at the Thunderbolt was named in honor of Coach Liamidi, the Liamidi Warrior Center, to honor his daily battle, which he faces with an unwavering and positive attitude. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Liamidi. I wonder who the next one is. I forgot. Oh, it's Sandy. Sandy Lundell from the CSU Pueblo Foundation. Sandy, are you with us? Okay, currently the scholarship manager for the CSU Pueblo Foundation, Sandy Lundell, has worked at CSU Pueblo for more than 20 years. From KTSC TV to university relations to financial aid, and now at the foundation. Sandy always exemplifies hard work, dedication, and continued learning. She worked to transform the CSU Pueblo Foundation competitive scholarship program into a fully online program, developing a system that is highly respected in the private scholarship field. Sandy is a magical person, a phenomenal baker, and a true supporter of CSU Pueblo and its students. Congratulations, Sandy. Our next stealth employee is Claire Ramos. Claire, Dr. Ramos. Claire Ramos mentors lots of students and researchers and an outstanding teacher. She also practically serves as an assistant department chair. I know what that means. Practically serves as an assistant department chair, leading the Wildlife and Natural Resources program during this current transition period. She provides enormous help in developing and updating and changing the biology course schedules during the academic year. She serves as the graduate program director for biology and often serves as acting chair when called upon. Her songbird research is very popular with students, and her productivity is outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, Claire Ramos. Next, it's Irene Macias. Irene. Do I see? There's Irene. As Irene joins us, Irene is a program assistant 1 in the student academic student academic services, and is adaptable and always thinking of ways to improve the functionality of the department. Most of the time, she is out of sight, but the work she does is not. Her work-study students love her as a supervisor, and she has transformed the front office over the last 6 months. She is patient and always willing to go above and beyond in everything she does. She's a very organized person and has typed out instructions for every process she oversees and then some. She gets along with all of the staff and is willing to go out of her way to ensure everyone is happy. She is one of the kindest individuals, and the department would not function the same without her, so we hope she never retires. She is the backbone of the department, and she deserves this recognition. Congratulations. Our next stealth employee is Dion Murray. Come on down, Dion. Dion Murray is quick to help, regardless of whether the requests are in his area or if he is busy with something else. I've got to talk over the cheers. He goes the extra mile to help out and is friendly and happy. Whenever we need something moved or have questions for things being shipped out, he assists with a smile on his face. He often has helped us locate different pieces of furniture that might work with our office. He is just a pleasure to work with. Dion Murray. Thank you. I think we might be close to halfway. Our next, I was going to say contestant on The Price is Right. Our next stealth employee is Kevin Duncan, Dr. Kevin Duncan. Dr. Duncan. Here he is. Kevin Duncan is a professor of economics and teaches business and regional economics in the Hassan School of Business at CSU Pueblo and has been a visiting scholar at the Institute for Research on Labor and Employment at the University of California, Berkeley. Professor Duncan has shown, we can start circling around. We're in the circle of love. There you go. I like that. Professor Duncan has shown a willingness to use instructional technology, having moved his courses to the hybrid delivery. He consistently tries new economic analysis software with his students and adopts tools that prove to be useful. Student feedback regarding the effectiveness of his teaching typically places him as one of the highest rated instructors in the Hassan School of Business. Over the years, he has mentored many undergraduate students, taught them to use IMPLAN for economic impact students, and co-authored research reports with them, particularly in practitioner journals. And I know that Dr. Duncan is currently serving on a committee for the governor, our governor for the state of Colorado, on looking at the family leave bill. Paid family medical leave bill. And word has come back to our campus through a variety of different ways that you are providing a lot of very good and skilled direction on that committee. I've heard that from, they put it in different words, but they said you were a mind of reason and they appreciated that. So it was a high compliment, so thank you for doing that. Our next stealth employee is John Valdez. And he's hating this. I know that about John. So John Valdez serves as the office manager for the Office of the Vice President of Enrollment Management, Communication, and Student Affairs. John helps to manage not only the Department of Student Services and Enrollment Management, but also serves as certification officer for the NCAA compliance and eligibility of close to 600 student athletes, graduate programs processor. He certifies residency for admissions, and he finds time to help the Office of the President and the Vision 2028 support. John is very customer service oriented and quick to offer support and guidance. For many of our students, he is quick to offer resolutions to faculty and staff alike, but does so without receiving or needing any recognition for all of his amazing work. He is always willing to help pitch in and support special events or projects within his unit, and he continues to produce quick, efficient, and timely work from his area. Thank you, John, for all that you do. There's a disclaimer for our next stealth employee. She is not a stealth employee, because we all know her, but a lot of her work remains stealth-like, and that is Alegria Ribadenera. Alegria. The nominator says, even though Alegria Ribadenera is not what we would traditionally consider stealth, she's also not your typical faculty member. Probably everyone in the room knows her and has had a chance to work with her since she joined our faculty in 2006. She is most definitely stealth in terms of the contribution she makes to our university. Perhaps one of the most innovative stealth activities that Alegria initiated recently was taking the lead in ensuring that the Chas faculty moving out of the psychology building during its renovation and their move into the general classroom building had some fun with the move. Alegria initiated Camp Chas, encouraging the relocated Chas faculty to compare their upcoming time in the GCB to being at camp. As faculty selected their cubicle locations in GCB, they were asked to share their favorite memories from camp. Alegria even created The Bugle, a temporary online publication designed to document the move. Throughout the upcoming year, Alegria has more plans to help minimize stress for our dislocated Chaz faculty. Her concern for the well-being of her faculty colleagues during this transition is truly commendable. This could only be pulled off by Alegria. As we all know, Alegria's enthusiasm and spirit can be infectious, and her work on Camp Chaz epitomizes CSU Pueblo's team expectations by inspiring and taking care of others. Congratulations, Alegria. Our next is Tracy Samora. Tracy. Okay, Tracy Samora has served as the Director of Alumni and Community Relations at CSU Pueblo since 2009. Tracy oversees all of the alumni and community outreach for the campus and always does it with a smile on her face. She has increased alumni activities to include several successful events, including the alumni tailgate at every home football game, the alumni stipend program, managing over a dozen homecoming events, Discover Downtown, and the annual Alumni Educator Hall of Fame and Teacher of the Year Awards event. Her role was expanded last year to include community outreach under the Office of Marketing, Communications, and Community Relations to help increase CSU Pueblo's presence within the community, including our booth and sponsorship at the upcoming Colorado State Fair. Thank you, Tracy Samora. I hope Kaylee Travieso is with us this morning. Kaylee. She's out sick. A round of applause for Kaylee. We wish her a speedy recovery. A little bit about Kaylee. She's an outstanding staff member who provides exceptional service to students in the counseling center that services over 2,000 students per academic year. Kaylee is the first initial contact for students and I should say faculty and staff, since I've been there, in the counseling center and provides intake services that are second to none. She makes those who are nervous and anxious to enter the center very comfortable. She calms a lot of our students and faculty and staff with her kind and calm demeanor while they wait for a counselor. She helps to break down the stigma that is attached to counseling by providing excellent customer service. We're grateful to Kaylee. Anna Zizda. I know Anna is with us today. Anna, come on down. And join us on the stage. Now, many of you may not know Anna. She may not be recognizable to many of us, but you definitely know her work. Anna is our web and digital content coordinator. Since starting at CSU Pueblo in February of this year, Anna has helped rewrite, reformat, refresh more than 500 pages on the CSU Pueblo website. Through her inherent ability to know what visitors to our website are looking for, Anna has transformed existing web pages into informative, engaging language and visually appealing pages that resonate with prospective students and their family members. Anna takes great pride in her work and works to understand the needs and goals of the various departments she works with before she changes one word. I think that's pretty critical. In addition, Anna has worked to build our web editors team through in-depth training sessions and coaching to ensure they have the tools necessary to manage their department's website. In a short amount of time, she's done an amazing job. Thank you, Anna. Okay, I think two more. Our next stealth employee is Bev Allen. Bev. I don't know. Got it. Bev was unable to join us today, but a little bit about Bev. She's well known around the state and nationwide for her expertise in archives management. Not everyone on the campus is aware of how much she does for the university. The University Archives and Special Collections is a busy, engaged, one-woman operation. With the help of 2 student employees, Bev manages the archives and ensures its growth. The archives include several different collections, including the University Archives, local history collections, the Orman Native American Collection, rare books, ethnic heritage collections, and the Colorado Chicano Movement's archives. Ladies and gentlemen, help me recognize Bev Allen for her work. Our final stealth employee is Juliet Mogensen from Extended Studies. Juliet is the online program's advisor for the Division of Extended Studies. She has been the campus advocate for online students as she was hired to work as the online construction management advisor. Since that time, she has provided her experience and advice for the continued development of the online MBA program and enthusiastically took on the project of working with the College of Nursing in building the RN to BSN online program. Her knowledge of enrollment admissions processes, as well as her ability to streamline processes, has been critical for the expansion of online programs. Juliet has been effective at increasing online student enrollments. CSU Pueblo is currently exceeding its online enrollment target, and this is due to the work of Juliet and her team. She has given herself personal enrollment goals, and when she hits those goals, she sets the bar higher. We are very grateful for Juliet's work. Thank you, Juliet. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a group of this year's Stealth employees who do a lot of work for the university, and it's time for us to honor them and to thank them for all of their work. So I want to thank all of you. Thank you, Meg. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Sandy. Claire, thank you. Thank you, Irene. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Claire.
You're getting a camp chest care package now.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues. It's not every day you get a standing ovation. That reflects a lot of work, folks. And there's a lot of other work that I want to recognize today, and that is this year, as you know, we had the pleasure of bringing commencement back to our campus after 20 years of being at the State Fair Event Center. It was an idea, and when these ideas kind of emerge, you wonder, can we pull this off? Can we bring, with limited staff, could we pull this off and make this happen? And so you kind of take the courage and say, we're going to do this and we're going to do it well. I had a set of expectations of kind of what I thought would happen, and those expectations were far exceeded in terms of what we did as a community to make sure that we celebrated and honored our graduates, their family members, but also we celebrated each other for the hard work. This is the culmination. This is why we're here. And this is an example of our class that just graduated. There's a group of men and women. We all took part in that day, and I'm grateful for everyone for pulling together. We did good work. There was a team who was responsible for really working out the logistics, and they spent an enormous amount of time making that happen. And this is the team. This is the commencement team of around 47 individuals. I'm going to ask all of the members whose names appear to come forward, not on the stage, but if you would circle the stage so we can recognize you. So every name that's on this screen, they invested, I'm going to say hundreds of hours making sure that our commencement. So please come forward. Please come forward. I'd like you to turn around and not look at me, but look at your colleagues. I'd like three to come up on the stage. I'd like Gina Alfonso, Keelan Bailey, and Noel Sansusi, if you would join me on stage. I don't know if many of you may not have known these three individuals before commencement, but you now know who they are. They work in the student engagement and leadership team. Gina is the director of the student engagement and leadership team, and I went to her and I asked, if she would do this for us, and she pulled a team together, and this is the team she pulled together to make this all happen. And so I remain grateful for the three of you coordinating the effort of the men and women around this platform today. And we have a special award that we're going to give you on an annual basis. We call it the PAC Award, because this is a PAC that worked together incredibly well to pull this off. And so we have an award that we're going to give you, and it is this award, which is a Thunderwolf. And we're going to pass this, and we're going to transfer this Thunderwolf on an annual basis to the next team who works together as a pack to pull off something incredibly wonderful, like the three of you did, along with the group around this room. And we thought you'd get a sense of humor about this.
Yes.
A little bit of an inside joke. Thank you to the three of you. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. And colleagues, the rest of you, thank you for all the work we did on that wonderful day. And the rest of us, it was a very special day. Commencement is returning to the event center this year at this date. I'm just kidding. We're going to keep it here. Why would we do that? But we're going to build on that. So now I'd like to move us into the second part of our convocation today, is to talk about some extraordinary results that have happened on our campus in the last year that are pretty remarkable. And I want to spend a little bit of time today talking about those results, the men and women behind those results. And I'd like to begin with this building. This building, as you know, is our psychology building. And if you've been away from campus and you come back and you look, a lot of work has happened thanks to the work of Houston Construction and their contractors. But as you know, the building has been gutted. It's got a new set of windows. Much has happened in the short amount of time. This building will open a year from now. This building will be occupied and will take the name of the Center for Integrated Human Health and Humanities, a concept that emerged from our provost, Dr. Muhammad Abdul-Rahman, along with the group of faculty that he worked with. And I want to talk a little bit about their work. But this building will be, as you know, the new home for the School of Nursing and Health Sciences. That will be on the ground floor. It's important to note that we no longer have a basement in the building. There's no longer a basement. You will enter on the ground floor, and there will be an upstairs. On the ground floor that you walk on will be the School of Nursing and Health Science, along with our health clinic and our counseling center. On the top floor of this new building will house the offices for our faculty in the humanities and our social sciences. There will be some classroom space, a lot of collaboration space, but all of this was a concept that was pulled together by the following group. Before I get to the group who did the work and pulled the academic plan together, I'd like to thank Carl Speaker and Craig Kaysen, who went before the Capital Development Committee up in Denver for a number of years asking for money for this renovation project. They were turned down, how many times, Carl? 12 years. We were turned down 12 years for funding for this building, and we are resilient and persistent and stubborn as all get out. And this year, they funded this project to the tune of $16.8 million. And so I'm grateful for Carl and for Craig Kaysen for their persistence, and I'm grateful for our provost and the faculty who developed a plan for this building. And I'd like to, as I mention your names, would you please stand? First is Mark Guerrero, who is our architect at the university. Carol Doherty, please stand. Sarah Lawson, Leticia Stephan, Joe Franta, Tricia Pocius, Marie Humphrey, Alegria Ribadenera, Juan Morales. Is anyone standing? Good. Okay. Krista Bridgman, Susan Calhoun-Stuber, Grant Weller, Corey Cameron, Sylvester Calavella, and William Fokestad. This group has developed an impressive plan for this building, and I'm grateful to all of you for the work that you did to make an impressive academic plan that will support our students. So, and what I love about this group is they signed the document. They authored it. It's the architect's plans. On the last page, they all put their name on this document, and that document will live on. But I love having your commitment and your signature on that. So a round of applause to the group of this group that produced impressive results. Some of you have seen this, but I don't expect you to. What I want you to do is get the concept here. This is the ground floor. This is the pink on the top is the School of Nursing. It's an expanded School of Nursing and Health Science. On the bottom, you'll see the pink and the blue. One of those is our clinic, and the other one is our counseling center. But all of this is working in tandem to create a health system for the university, for our students and our employees, as well as preparing future health professionals to serve our city, Southern Colorado, and other parts of the United States. So the upstairs, I'm not going to show you, but it's very impressive, the work that they've done. Other innovations that I'm very proud of that I'd like to spend a little bit of time today talking about, that is the work of our employees. These are innovations where I believe we're leading in these areas. One is our Institute of Cannabis Research. The Institute is in its 4th year, and we've evolved under the direction of Dr. Chad Kinney. Chad has a team in place. They're located on the top floor of the administration building, and they're doing some fantastic work. I'm grateful to them and very proud that we are home to the Institute of Cannabis Research, where it belongs and where it will stay. Excuse me. And that is my mother calling. I'm sorry. It's complicated. Right? Okay. Cannabis. Great transition. But anyway, Chad and his team, we had our 3rd annual conference this year, and I attended that conference. Incredible high-quality research, and many of our faculty presented their own research, and it was an impressive 3 days. The other thing that I wanted you to know about the Institute of Cannabis Research is we recently published the first journal coming out of this institute, the Journal of Cannabis Research, which has really national recognition, and the CSU Pueblo name is on that research. And this is a journal that has an editor. It's an international journal, and it represents the highest quality of research. So to Chad Kinney and his group, I commend you for the work that you've done, and I'm very proud that we're home for the Institute of Cannabis Research and look forward to that institute evolving. The Open Educational Resources is an initiative that we are leading the way in, which is basically allowing our students to have options. Instead of textbooks, it's looking at other instructional materials that are available in an online environment, either free or at a very low cost, that will save our students an enormous amount of money. Dr. Jonathan Poritz has been appointed working on a Governor of Colorado committee, is leading the way in the state of Colorado. Our very own Jonathan is leading that initiative on a statewide level, and I know that he's doing some work on the local campus, and look forward to how that project is going to evolve on our campus. But Jonathan is leading the state on that. We are a Purple Heart University, which is something that I take great pride in. And what that means is we are a campus who are committed to serving our veterans and our active military personnel. We've invested time and energy in educating our faculty and staff as to the needs of our veterans and our active military personnel. We were awarded a Purple Heart University, and I know just recently that Dean Bruce Raymond and Dean William Folkestad and Department Chair Steve Liebold from the Department of Homeland Security are working together to develop programming and services for disabled veterans at our location in Colorado Springs. And I believe preliminary plans include recruitment, mentoring, supporting, and graduating veterans with business degrees and flexible liberal studies degrees in Colorado Springs. So I'm grateful to that group and to all of us for working together to make sure that we serve our veterans, and we do that well. Dana Rocha is also a big part of the success that we've had with working in the Purple Heart University designation. For those of you who don't know, Dana is our Director of Military and Veterans Success Center. Finally, but the solar energy project. I don't know what you know about the solar energy project, but this is a pretty large, it's huge initiative for our university. In February, the Board of Governors approved a solar project for CSU Pueblo. The project will include a solar farm that occupies approximately 27 acres on the north side of our campus. A third party by the name of Johnson Controls will install, operate, and maintain this solar power plant, and we will purchase energy back from them at a significantly reduced cost that will allow us to lower our energy bill significantly for a number of years going forward. And when you take a look at how energy costs, I look at those bills, and those bills keep increasing exponentially every year. We are going to be able to hold our energy cost at a much lower rate, and we're doing an audit currently before any investment is done to make sure that that comes to fruition and that we can meet those benchmarks in those numbers. Everything at the university will be powered by solar, with the exception of our housing facilities. They will be on a separate grid, excluding housing, which will remain on a separate meter. The project will provide CSU Pueblo with electricity at a lower rate than projected costs from traditional sources over the life of the project. And the project exemplifies CSU Pueblo's commitment to sustainability, which is one of our guiding principles. And we're taking the lead on this, and we'll be receiving some statewide recognition, if not national recognition, because we're one of the largest entities in the state of Colorado to take this initiative. So that again is the work. Carl Speaker led that work along with Craig Kaysen. I know John Doyle has been very instrumental, our general counsel, on working through the legal matters as it relates to that project. And then finally, La Calle is a grant that we received, and it was a grant where we received $3.75 million that Donna and a team authored. This grant is going to allow us to help with transfer students, underrepresented transfer students from community colleges to our campus, but also it pays particular attention to teacher education students, providing them with some education and some tutoring, enabling them to practice and to be successful at completing their certification exams, which would increase the diversity of the faculty going in through the public education system, the K through 12 network in Pueblo and in Southern Colorado. So very grateful to them and their work. This is where, this is the work of a lot of folks, and these are what I would call some of our leading innovations. I also want to move this conversation a bit forward and talk about experiential education, because we walk the talk here. We've got faculty who are creating unique opportunities for our students and expanding experiential learning opportunities, and I want to touch on some of these. From January of 2019, I believe, until now, Chris Piccici has traveled with students to Italy and southern France. And if you've ever traveled with students, this is a lot of work. It looks glamorous from the outside until you do it. But when you do this level of work, there's a level of intensity, there's a level of responsibility, and it looks glamorous and fun, and it can be very rewarding. Probably I call it retrospective sense-making after you've got home and you're looking back on it. It tends to be probably a little bit more glamorous than what it was when boots were on the ground. Grant Weller traveled with students to Europe to participate in the 75th anniversary commemorating D-Day in Normandy, France. I know Dana Im traveled with students, a pretty large group, to Colombia. Juyun Cho traveled with students to South Korea. Ian Brennan traveled with students to England. Daniel Bowen and Danilo Leon traveled with students to our campus in Todos Santos. I know Victoria Obregon traveled with a large group of students throughout Mexico. Altogether, about 60 of our students have been traveling since January, and these include our students along with students from the Fort Collins campus. So I'm grateful to those faculty who develop these opportunities to take advantage of our campus in Todos Santos, the study abroad, We have internships, our undergraduate research in C-Base. I have participated in those showcases and forums and have been very impressed with what I see there. I also want to talk about 3 other faculty work pieces that I want you to know about that I think are impressive. I don't know if Dr. Amaya Garcia Costas is here. Dr. Costas, are you here? Will you please stand? This will probably make you a bit uncomfortable. But Dr. Costas is in her second year, Amaya? Is it second? Okay. But I want you to know some of the work that she's done. She will be running a C-phages program at CSU Pueblo. A phage, is that pronounced right? A phage is a virus that infects and replicates within bacteria. The University of Colorado Boulder is the only other participating institution other than CSU Pueblo, and we are one of only 127 institutions that are involved in this project nationwide. C-phages stands for Science Education Alliance Phage Hunters Advancing Genomics and Evolutionary Science. It is a 2-semester discovery-based undergraduate research course that begins with simple digging in the soil to find new viruses, but progresses through a variety of microbiology techniques and eventually to complex genome annotation and bioinformatic analyses. The program aims to increase undergraduate interest and retention in the biological sciences through immediate immersion and authentic, valuable, yet accessible research. By finding and naming their own bacteriophages, students develop a sense of project ownership and have a ready-made personal research project at a fraction of the cost of traditional apprentice-based research programs. This is what this faculty member has brought to our university, along probably with others. I remain grateful for creating those opportunities for our students. Thank you. I know Dr. Jude DePalma, I saw, Jude, would you please stand? Dr. Jude DePalma selected a team of students for the NASA Innovation and Tech Transfer Idea Competition. The team submitted a concept paper, and they were one of 10 teams selected across the United States to attend an online immersion experience at the Johnson Space Center. Student Cordell Roberts won the Outstanding Leadership Award during this competition. I thank you for making that opportunity available to our students, Jude. Thank you. Another experiential activity was the product of the teacher education program in conjunction with the Colorado Center for Rural Education. They coordinated a rural education expo. Teacher education program faculty, would you please stand wherever you're located? Teacher education, okay, good. I saw you earlier. Here's what the work that they did. They coordinated a rural education expo to encourage pre-service teachers to explore opportunities in a rural setting. Over 30 students participated with representation from 16 different rural school districts to find out what it was really like to teach in a rural school. So they brought together the school districts, they brought together our students, and they explored what is it like to live and to work and to teach in a rural setting. And another way of making sure that we're preparing teachers to work in those important environments. I thank you for creating that opportunity for our students. Okay, so our results. We're talking about our results. And I've given you our innovations. I've talked about our experiential education. All of you might have received the State magazine, Daniel Bowen. They had a whole page devoted to a quote from our professor, Daniel Bowen, talking about the importance of the Todos Santos Center. It shows students that the world is our classroom. The highest form of learning is what we experience. Now these students will have this transformational experience that will always draw from, that they will draw from. They'll be able to ask, how does this transfer to other parts of my life? How do I carry it with me? So a special thanks to Dan for the work that you're doing in Todos Santos. Talking about, thank you. Another part, an important part of the students' experiential education on this campus is what they experience as a member of our division in our Department of Athletics. This year, close to 600 of our students will be student athletes. And so Paul, recently we got back from the Board of Governors meeting where he presented to our Board of Governors some of the results of the work of our Department of Athletics. And I pulled out some of the highlights that I think are important for all of us to understand. Around academic excellence, the grade point average of our athletes is 3.06. We have 9 academic All-Americans that are a part of our student athletes. In terms of the athletic achievement, we're 5th in RMAC All Sports Competition Cup out of 16 schools. 27 All-American performances this year. We had 8 national champions. And then the community engagement is over 32 hours of community service, all coming out of the Division of Athletics. So we remain grateful to our Department of Athletics, to Paul Polinsky for the work in your leadership. I salute all of you for the work that you're doing. I wanted you to see this slide. I see a lot of photos taken by our photographers. This is my all-time favorite photo. This is what winning looks like and feels like. And I was introduced to this photo. This is Marcelo Laguera. And let me tell you about him. He becomes the school's first NCAA Division II cross-country national champion when he won the title in 2018. This photo is a bit dated, but it's still my all-time favorite. For his efforts on the cross-country course and in the classroom, he was named both the National Cross-Country Athlete and Scholar Athlete of the Year for Division II. In June, Marcelo will be recognized as an academic All-American first team selection with a 3.44 GPA in civil engineering technology. I attended my first NCAA conference 2 years ago in Indianapolis. I was walking down the hallway of a very large convention center, and the entire hallway was wrapped in this photograph. And that's when I looked and I said, wait, that's my university. And so this photo is just a photo that I look at this because I see it evokes a feeling in me that makes me very happy. And so I'm assuming this is what winning feels and looks like after doing your very best. So I salute this student who is with us as a 3.44 GPA in civil engineering. So delighted to have him with us. That's where we've been in terms of recognizing our people and recognizing our successes. It started with an idea, and the idea was to become the People's University. There are a lot of people in our community, and I think on the campus, who are wanting us to define what does it mean to be the People's University. And I'm going to ask all of us to be patient as we define this. There's a lot of people wanting us to put us into a box and to kind of define what exactly do we mean by the People's University. I believe it started as a concept, it started as an idea, and it's an idea that will evolve between now and 2028. And we need the ability to be flexible, to make sure that we're adapting to the needs of our students, we're adapting to the needs of our employees, and we're adapting to the needs of our employers. And so what I can tell you is here's at its root, a People's Opportunity is about providing opportunities for our students. A lot of our students did not grow up in a home where the opportunity of going to school was a reality. We work with them and we bring them into the university. So a lot of them do not see themselves as college students. They do not see themselves as belonging in a university. They do not see themselves as being successful in a university. And I don't know if they've given a whole lot of thought as to where they would like to go with their life and what that potential might look like. The People's University is providing students with an opportunity to change their life, to change the life of their family, and to make significant contributions to their community. This is the work that we do. And I started that conversation at the very beginning of today's discussion, talking about the alums that I've met with. So here's what I can tell you, is that we are a university where we provide opportunity. But the People's University emerged from a number of discussions, and there were 3 concepts that we kept going back to. The first is the Latin root of Pueblo, the name of our county, the name of our community, and the name of our university. The Latin root of Pueblo is people. So there was an idea that started emerging. The historians on our committee identified in the late 1800s, Pueblo was referred to as the people's town, meaning that it was a community of individuals who were receptive to the immigrant populations moving into Pueblo because they fueled the economy, the steel mills. So the late 1800s, Pueblo was referred to as the people's town. The third reference point that I want you to understand has to do with the Regional Comprehensive University, which is what we are. In the 30s, regional comprehensive universities were referred to as the People's University. They were universities located in the inner city, or they were universities located in rural, remote parts of the state who were responsible for educating underrepresented students. They were responsible for educating young people in the business fields, in the nursing field, in the education fields, preparing young people to go out and to serve the men and women in these remote parts of our country who needed services and where we needed to build and grow an economy. And we've been very successful at doing that. So when we started realizing people started emerging, again, the Latin root of Pueblo, the people's town in the late 1800s, and then finally, the regional comprehensive, we landed on becoming the People's University. So I wanted everyone to understand, when people ask you about where did the idea come from, it came from a variety of sources, but those are 3 touch points and cultural references that are important to us. The other thing that I do not want to get lost as we become the People's University is that we are an Hispanic serving institution. And we take great pride in being an Hispanic serving institution where over a third of our students are Hispanic. And that number continues to increase. And I don't know if you know this, but our Hispanic students are retaining at the same level as our non-Hispanic students are. And that's not always common throughout the country. So we've made great strides in our abilities to serve Hispanic students, and we will continue to provide cultural programming and services that meet the needs of this particular group of men and women. There's a group called the Visioning Steering Committee that is responsible for pulling this concept together. And I want to quickly recognize them again because they did this work, volunteer, no extra pay, and they devoted a lot of extra time and energy. And I want to recognize them again. Amy Robertshaw, would you please stand? Adam Pocius, would you please stand? Jackie Walgren, Emily McElwain, Kristen White Davis, Derek Lopez, Jonathan Poritz, Brian Vandenheuvel, and Donna Sauter Hodge. This is the group of men and women who pulled these ideas together, and I remain grateful to you. So I'd like to walk through a little bit about this, but before we do that, we had a successful Board of Governors meeting last Friday or the Friday before, where for 2 years we've been putting together the argument, and we presented a presentation, and we've presented a lot of presentations to the Board of Governors, but we're successful in getting the Board of Governors to invest in us to the amount of $7.9 million over the next 2 years to implement and to execute the People's University. When people ask us, what do you mean by the People's University? Another way of addressing that is, here's what we're doing to become the People's University. There are 10 initiatives that have been funded, and we're going to be executing the following. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. But I'd like to thank, again, 2 of our Board of Governors who are with us today who made that a possibility, both Russell and Jane. We remain grateful to you for your support. So to become the People's University, we've been talking about it. The first year was listen and learn. Last year was about planning. We're executing. We're moving forward. We're doing what we said we would do, and that work begins today. And so the first, it's important for us to keep ourselves grounded in our students and what the needs of our students are. So we took place in a survey called the Real College Survey. It comes out of Temple University. 600 of our students responded to the survey. The top part of it is the results of that survey. And here's what we know. With the 600 students who responded to that survey, 45% of our respondents were food insecure in the prior 30 days. 53% of our respondents were housing insecure in the previous year, and 17% of our respondents were homeless in the previous year. This survey was conducted on this campus with 600 of our students participating in a national survey from Temple University. They presented the report to us, and we have the data. And what are we doing about this? There's a number of initiatives that we're currently working on. We have a PAC pantry, we have a career closet, we have a program called PAC Cares, and new scholarships to allow us to begin meeting the needs of these students as it relates to food and housing insecurity, which is the top line. The next line down is the mental health issues of our students. This comes out of our counseling center. We had a 27% increase in visits to our counseling center in the last academic year, 2016-17 academic year to 2017-18, and another 18% in services from 2017 to 18 to 2018 and 2019. I want you to know that at the last Board of Governors meeting, the governors asked us to prepare a report on what are the mental health needs of our students. And they have offered to provide funding that is going to help us on a number of initiatives. Chrissy Holliday presented what our needs were, and they are in the process of supporting us. And we are putting together a proposal, but we're going to be asking for additional monies and resources for our counseling center that will help us meet this level of needs that we have. The bottom is around where are our students in terms of their financial insecurity. 46% of CSU Pueblo students are considered low income. 65% are either low or low middle income. 31% of our low income students have 100% of their tuition and fees paid with existing aid packaging. That aid packaging comes from the hard work of the CSU Pueblo Foundation under the direction of Todd Kelly. And so we continue to work on financial aid for our students and the work of our foundation to continue to provide those level of services. I wanted you to know that our foundation, we recently were invited to serve as a Reicher Scholarship Campus that will provide our students with an additional $200,000 in scholarships for fiscal year 20. That dollar amount is expected to grow to $800,000 in what year? In 5 years. And this $800,000 is in perpetuity. So we're starting with $200,000 of additional dollars of financial aid to be a Reicher Family Scholarship Institution. In 5 years, it will grow to $800,000, and that will live on as we educate our students. So this is the work of a foundation bringing resources. And so I bring up this slide because becoming the People's University is first and foremost keeping our mind top of mind, what are the needs of the students? And we've got 3 critical needs. They are food insecurity, we've got a mental health need, and at the bottom, it's just the reality of the lives of our students who come from a lower socioeconomic status, which makes our goal and our vision of becoming the People's University, ladies and gentlemen. There is a social justice ethos in becoming the People's University, and that is providing students with upward mobility, allowing them to reposition themselves and their families to understand where are we currently and what are the structures that are in place that are serving us well or not serving us well, and how does education allow you to reposition yourselves to be more mindful about you and your family's trajectory moving forward. A college degree allows us to do that. Our current state is on the left. Our future state is on the right. I want to talk a little bit about this. The enrollment, our goal this year is, what is our enrollment goal this year? 4181. That is what we're trying to reach. When we prepared a budget, we budgeted down 2%, and that's the 3857. The goal is 4181. We prepared a budget based on where we've been trending. We got a stretch goal, 4181. My eye is on the 4181. Our budgeted goal is 3857, and that is in terms of being able to fund COLAs and all of the other things that we need to have a balanced budget. So that's where we are. Our retention is currently at 68.4. 68.4 for retention, that is what year to what year? How do we measure retention at the university? Is it sophomore to junior? Junior to senior? It's freshman to sophomore. We are at 68.4. Our peer group is at 70.6. We need to get to 70.6 and exceed that. And with funding, we're going to be able to make that eventually happen. Our completion rate's 32.4. Our peer group is at 41.2. Completion is at 4-year or 6-year? It's a 6-year. And then placement, 83%, we hit our goal. Our goal was 83% of our students would be placed in employment or pursuing graduate school. We've done the work, we're at 83%. Our goal for our peer group is 86%. So I wanted everyone to understand current state and future state. Future state is fiscal year 29, and I want to touch on that 50,057. The 5,057 is the number of students we need in order for us to be sustainable financially moving forward. We are currently not financially sustainable, so we're getting some assistance to make sure that we're investing our money so that we can eventually become financially sustainable. We need another $8.5 to $10 million in revenues annually in order for us to be sustainable moving forward. That is building our enrollment to 50,057, and I want to walk through how we're going to do that. And we're doing that with funding from our Board of Governors, the $7.8 million. On the right, you see lagging indicators. Lagging indicators are the results. Those are the outcomes. That's what we're trying to achieve. We're going to do that through a set of leading indicators, which are the strategic initiatives on the left. The left, they include a new financial aid model, an investment in our athletic facilities, our track centers, a new advising model, CSU Pueblo at Colorado Springs, adult learning program. It's general education and capstone curricular redesign. It's professional learning spaces, a downtown presence, and CSU Pueblo Professional, which is an expansion of graduate programming on the campus. If there's a star next to the initiative, we've received funding to make that a reality. Those without a star, we are self-funding, or we'll be raising money through external funding, through our ability to apply for Title III and V grants, in addition to a campaign that I'm going to introduce in a few minutes for the university. So I want to talk a little bit about, we've received funding. Where is the money going, and how will it allow us to reach our lagging indicators? There's 3 buckets, 3 groups of funding. $7.8 million will be divided among Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. Group 1 develops the infrastructure to manage this project between now and 2028. And there's also a number of initiatives around generating revenue. This is a grants writer. We need a grant writer who can write grants for the university. We need gift officers. We need men and women to go out and to raise money that'll go to the foundation. And so these are resources that universities have that they self-fund, because these men and women are professionals and they're going out and they're procuring money to allow us to do the work so that we can be sustainable. This also includes an investment in our athletic facilities. We're close to 600 athletes. Dr. Paul Polinsky is finding additional ways to rent out our athletic facilities as a way to generate revenue to allow our athletics division to be self-sustaining. We do that by having high-quality athletic facilities, and other people are taking interest in our facilities, in addition to just having good academics or good athletics and academics at the institution. Group 2 is creating a differentiated student experience. It's time for us to do that, and we've got the funding to do that work. From the very beginning, I've been talking about the crowded higher education marketplace in the state of Colorado. And our job is to develop a differentiated student experience. We're ready to do that work. And then finally, how are we going to drive enrollment? And we've got a plan for doing that. I want to start with the differentiated student experience. And this is something I need everyone to understand. We know where we're going with our vision. We know what our mission is. And we've got 10 initiatives. These initiatives are at a high level. We know what we're going to do. I'm going to need your help in working with our vice presidents and our directors and our deans to take the money and to develop how are we going to execute this. We've got the direction and the concepts. I'm going to need your help and turning the concepts into processes that are appropriate and that make sense. That will not be our work, that'll be your work. So the call to action is to take the concept and the money and the resources and to develop the processes. One of those areas is a differentiated student experience. At a high level, I'm going to talk about what we think that is, but there's a series of processes that need to be developed. It starts with increased financial aid through expanded work study. Our students have to work. The goal is to put more of our students to work on the campus and in the community in jobs that map to their interest, giving them an opportunity in the first 2 years to explore, what do I want to do with my life? It's an opportunity to test drive what you think you want to do. Internships are too late. Internships come at the back end of a career, and by that time, if you're changing your mind, you have lost some time, which will result in money. We need a front-end experience, and these could be apprenticeships where we provide employers incentives. We pay half of the student's wage, the employer pays half of the wage, and students are paid a wage, and that wage is not given to them, but comes to the university to help fund their education. It pays their balance. It allows them to go to college in an environment that maps to their career. It creates the relevance. They figure out what they want to do and what they don't want to do. By partnering with employers, we're paying half. We incentivize the employer to hire our students, but we're also asking our employers to develop soft and professional skills so that when our students graduate from our institution, they have the soft and the skills needed in order to, the professional skills that are often missing. So the concept is expanded work study. This has to be developed. There's going to require men and women who work on this. The funding is available, and the people will be available, but we've got to develop it. A credit for experiential and prior learning. Let me just tell you a little bit about, we pride ourselves on experiential education. And I've given you examples of where we've excelled, where faculty give credit for experiential learning. We believe we need to build on this because we take great pride in our ability to do this. And there's ways for us to do that, but we're going to need help on how do we make sure that we are mapping people's experiences, they can demonstrate competencies that we can maybe give them college credit for to expedite their way through college. I don't know if you know this, but the percentage of Pueblo County residents who have a baccalaureate degree is 15%. In Colorado, the standard is 25%. 25% of the residents of Colorado have a baccalaureate degree. In Pueblo, Colorado, it's 15%. There is an opportunity for us to educate the men and women who live in our community. And if we can find ways of taking prior learning in their experiences and allowing them to get some credit for the work that they've done, that is one way of enticing them, getting them back into college. I also want you to know that, and let me make sure I get this right, 24% of our citizens in our county have some college but no degree, and that is for men and women at the ages of 25 and older. So in Pueblo County, ages 25 or older, 24% have some college but no degree. It's another market in our backyard that if we can help them come back to college, that is going to benefit our community. Interdisciplinary learning through internships and capstone experiences. We got to figure out how to do that. We've got money for this. We've got to figure out how to do it. Soft and entrepreneurial skill development. A lot of work to be done here. We've got the funding. We've got to figure out how to do it. I need your help there. Expanded advising and mentoring. Today, the advising role is complex. It's no longer just academic advising alone. Our academic advisors need to understand everything related to financial aid. They need to understand career counseling and coaching, in addition to academic and mentoring support and involving our faculty in that process. We believe that that needs to be packaged together as creating a differentiated undergraduate experience, and we market that as a way to drive enrollment at the university. Here are other enrollment drivers. I've alluded to these. The differentiated student experience is on the right. The next one is online graduate programs, and we're well underway there. I worry a little bit about this. We have a doctorate of nursing practice without having a graduate school. It's time for CSU Pueblo to evolve into graduate education where we invest in the infrastructure needed to make sure that we have high quality graduate education. And this includes an investment in infrastructure to drive graduate education. 3% of our SEHs are currently are graduate. Most institutions of our type and size need to be, we're at 10%. We are growing graduate education from 3 to 10, and we're going to do that rather quickly. There is a need, and those graduate programs are very targeted. They're in the areas where our community needs help. We need graduate degrees in education. We need graduate degrees in social services, and we need graduate degrees in health and wellness. These are the needs of our community to upscale, and those individuals are here. They need our help with appropriate programming. Adult learning, I've touched on that, and then the university track centers. We've learned a lot in a year about what's working and not working about university track centers. And we know we need a different model there. We're going to build and expand on, and there's a lot of ideas that will include more faculty involvement, academic advisors, but hiring and training individuals with a little bit more of a sales orientation to close the deal to bring more students to our university. We have a campaign we're getting ready to launch. I would say we've already launched what's called the quiet phase of a campaign. We're raising money. The quiet phase is where we are currently. We will go public with the public phase at the President's Gala in May of 2021. By May of 2021, our goal, we're looking at $100 million, raising $100 million, where our foundation is the private giving, is responsible for 50% of that. The other 50% comes from other investors. And we have the seed money, 7.8 already from our foundation, or from our Board of Governors. We're looking at another $16 million through external relationships and partnerships with a variety of foundations, and what we get through Title III and Title V opportunities. So we are developing additional resources to help fund the university moving forward. This is something that we need to talk about today, and that is, in addition to our system investing $7.9 million in us, we are leveraging, through our partnership with the CSU system and our Board of Governors, another $5 million in a technology upgrade. So I think this is important. This is an additional $5 million in a technology upgrade, which is desperately needed at this institution. We're going to be onboarding a new Banner system, which is our student information system. It's called Banner. And Banner is the gold standard at universities around a student information system that will change the student experience and how we do our work. Banner implementation is challenging, and I want to talk a little bit about the change management needed for this to happen. In addition to their funding Banner, they funded what is called CourseLeaf, which is an online cataloging system that allows our curriculum development to be a more agile process. That is already in place. Another decision we eventually have to make is around a learning management system. We currently have Blackboard, and we can continue with Blackboard, but we need to sign an agreement, and it's around $80,000 to $90,000 moving forward if we stick with Blackboard. The other alternative is, I believe our system would fund Canvas for us if we decided to go with that option. So I'm introducing the idea today around what is desperately needed at this institution, I've been hearing since I've been here, is a technology infrastructure upgrade. And I want you to know that we've got a system that we're leveraging that is allowing us a $5 million investment in Banner that is not going to be our investment. If we were to do it on our own, that is what that product would cost. And then possible support around Canvas depending on where we go with that. But we've got Blackboard, and that's an ongoing conversation, so that's a decision we will need to make. But I wanted you to understand that the technology infrastructure is being upgraded as we speak. When we have Banner, this is what students will have access to. They will have a portal that will show them their success in all of their courses. And this is an example of what a Banner dashboard will look like for our students. They can map their progress. They can map the number of credits, their GPAs, their bills, how much money do they owe, etc. Faculty will also have a dashboard for all of the courses that you teach that will allow you similar information to allow you to know how your students are progressing throughout your respective courses. You will have access to new advising screens and registration screens through Banner that will allow us to operate like the majority of universities in the United States are currently doing. So this is what I call some punctuated evolution with technology. But folks, this is, I've been through Banner implementations before, and it's an experience. It's going to require some patience. So let me talk about implementing change. Here is the work. We've got day-to-day operations, working with our students, and that's our bandwidth. And you know, we work hard to make that happen. We're going to be implementing Banner over the next 2 years. We go live with Banner in the fall of 21. And then we've got Vision 2028, which will take us out a number of years. But we got funding for initiatives for the first couple of years. So we've got bandwidth, and we've got a lot of work to do, but it's not without resources. And that's what I want to share with you today. First of all, I want us to, on the very bottom arrow, the Vision 2028, $7.9 million to implement Vision 2028 with key resources targeted to selective personnel, programs, processes, and software in order for us to do that level of work. Banner is going to require extra resources. Our chancellor, Tony Frank, has told me Banner needs to be a successful implementation on your campus. There's going to be men and women who divert their time to Banner, and we're going to backfill those positions. I need to know how many positions need to be backfilled as a result of the Banner implementation. And I've asked our vice presidents to prepare that for me so I can go to our chancellor and say, here's the backfill needed. We're not implementing without resources. So we've got 7.9 for Vision. We got backfill coming for Banner. And for the day-to-day operations, it is our constant making sure that our processes, we build in efficiencies. Our first one is going to come, I believe, in the next 2 months with an online contracting system that will allow us to eliminate the paper flow and will allow us to move contracting into an online environment. So those are the day-to-day operations where we will get some extra leverage. But the arrow on the bottom is important. November 9 through 11. Do you know what that day is of 2020? It's our visit by the HLC. I know, on top of everything else. It's an HLC visit. And so you'll see the shaded area. The shaded area is there's a group of us working to make sure that we are reaccredited. We need to be reaccredited in an environment where we are evolving as a university. And we're going to be doing all of this at once. So I share this with you because the point that I want you to understand is, unlike in the past, where we do a lot of extra work with not a whole lot of resources, we're at a point, this is a turning point for our university. We are changing and evolving with resources and additional person power to help us do this and to do this well. But there's an enormous amount of evolution, and that begins this year. So again, the first year was listening and learning. Last year was about planning. This year, it's happening. And so it's the work that's in front of us. This is what Banner will look like in terms of implementation. We will test registration the last quarter of 19, and that will run through the first quarter of 21. Admissions processes will go online with Banner the first and second quarter of 20. Financial aid, the whole 2020 will be financial aid, catalog and schedule will be around the second quarter of 2020, taking us into 2021. Accounts receivable, the back end of 20, the first end of 21. We are totally live at the end, in the fall of 2021. So that is the work that's in front of us for a new information system. And for those of you, how many of you have worked at universities with Banner before? Some of you have experience. I've only worked at Banner schools, and once it's implemented, there's much we can do with it, and I think you will see how it will change how we work. Vision 2028 next steps. Here's what it looks like. We assign a senior project manager. That will be Donna Sauter-Hodge, who will be heading up the project. Number 2 is setting up projects in Kuali. We are currently setting up projects in Kuali where we will load with $7.8 million. Step 3, it's developing a project manual and processes to make sure that we are consistent. And how are we making this, how are we investing our money? And then finally, developing an HR process for a very careful onboarding of really select key personnel to help us with our visioning process. I want you to understand the budgeting process. The $7.8 million is going to be put into a budget called Vision 2028. We've got the university budget, which we keep a close eye on, making sure that our expenses and our revenues align. The vision budget is a separate budget. It will be the $7.8 million loaded over a 2-year period with monies attached to each of those initiatives, the 10 initiatives. Actually, there's 7 initiatives that are funded, 3 that are self-funded. Each of those initiatives have earmarks and dollars, and we will use those money to develop the processes to move that needle forward. That is the work that's in front of us with additional resources. Today, the 3 talking points that were important for me to share with you is our people, the work that we've done, which is enormous, and then the mission. The campus on a mission is the work that's in front of us. Before I conclude, I have a couple of personal comments I want to share with you. But first, I want to highlight in your program, all of you have a program about the week's events. I want to bring a couple to your attention. Faculty Senate, you're meeting on Wednesday from 1 to 2. Faculty Senate is meeting from 1 to 2, and that is going to take place, I believe, in the chambers of the Student Senate. What I'd like to do is talk with the faculty from 12 noon to 1 before that meeting starts. You're going to be receiving an email from me inviting you to grab lunch in the PAC Cafe, come upstairs to the student government room, and it's a working lunch, but I'd like to be available to answer any questions and to talk with you about the visioning process moving forward. That is for faculty 12 to 1 on Wednesday. At 1 o'clock, you got an open meeting. I'd like to have a working lunch. Wednesday afternoon, we have a campaign meeting where we're going to set some priorities. We're going around and we're doing focus groups. We're raising money for a campaign and I need your help. What are the priorities of the university? As we raise money, where should the monies go and what do you think the priorities should be for a campaign? I'd like your input on that. And then I'd like for you to meet Rico Munn. Rico Munn is a Board of Governor. He was the chair of the Board of Governors last year. He is currently the superintendent of the largest school system in the state of Colorado and the most diverse, which is Aurora, Colorado. He chaired the Board of Governors last year. He will be with us on Thursday, and it's going to take place in the ballroom. We are hosting lunch for all employees. It's a hosted lunch. We want you to come, and the keynote speaker is going to be Rico Munn, who's going to be sharing some thoughts with you. Rico is where the rubber hits the road in the K through 12 system, and he's going to be talking a little bit about the pipeline that is coming our way and some of the issues and the work that's being done on K through 12, and we're grateful that he's going to be here. New student convocation will take place on Friday from 3 to 4:30 in Massari Arena, and we look forward to having as many faculty and staff participate where we welcome new students to the university. A couple of call to actions before we finish up today. A year ago, I mentioned about, I had a concern around how we were treating each other as employees. I started that conversation a year ago. And I was seeing and hearing things from our employees that a little bit different from what I've experienced at other institutions. And I asked all of us to be a little bit more mindful about how we treat each other as colleagues. And I think we've made some significant progress. But I think there's more work to be done. Because I have, unfortunately, been in environments where I've heard and seen, or overheard and seen. And we're not there yet. We do not have an employee culture that I am satisfied with in terms of how we interact and work with each other. And what I want all of you to understand is we all have frustrations and we all have conflicts on the job. It's a part of contemporary professional work life. There is no part of business world today where there's not conflict. And so I'm asking everyone to be more mindful about these conversations. And here's where I think we get into trouble. When you're frustrated or where there's a conflict, we need to keep it focused on the frustration and the conflict. What are the issues? What are the issues? And we express ourselves around the issues and the conflict. Where we run into trouble is when we attack other people, and it becomes very personal. And I believe we are so frustrated, we lash out and we attack people, and that's not going to solve our problems. If you stick to the issue, the conflict, and you talk about the issues, and you keep it issue related, you're going to make some progress. Now, some people will still take that personally. When you approach a person and you're talking about a conflict or an issue, there's a lot of people who take that personally and they interpret that as an attack. And you're not attacking them. You're talking about the issue. We've got to get to the place in this country and in this university where we can talk about conflict and issues. And if you take that personally, that is professional development and growth that you need and we all need when the intent is to discuss the issue. But some people do lash out, and I've seen that. They lash out at people and they attack people. And I know that is not productive or constructive. So I ask all of you to think about this. I do not want, we need to remain vigilant and we need to be critical thinkers. We're not into complacency. We don't have to tell people what they want to hear, but there's a way of doing that. And I just ask that we check ourselves. But I have seen some improvement, and I want to encourage that moving forward. The second issue that I want to talk about before we say goodbye is 2 years ago, I talked about writing our story as a campus. It was my first convocation. I was nervous beyond belief. I walked out onto a stage after losing everything we owned to a fire and talked about writing our story. And I was tired of other people telling our story because I heard that. And I said, it's time for us to kind of dig down and write our story. We've done the writing. We have authored a story. And it's our story. And it's time for us to put that story to work. And the other thing that I've been hearing is throughout the 2 years, people have questioned the following. People have questioned, where is the CSU system support for our university? People have, and rightly so, they've asked those questions, and those are good questions. And you've wondered about that. In the last 2 years, we've wondered about that. We have been wondering about resources. Will they ever come? And we questioned if that would ever happen. With resources comes people. Some of us are wondering, my God, I need more people to do the work that needs to be done. So where I'm going with this is that we are at a turning point in the university. We've got a system that is supporting us. They're walking their talk. There's funds coming into the university. With those funds come people. We've got time, and I'm empowering all of us to pull together and to turn this university around. And we have done, and in the 2 years, I'm feeling very good about where we've been and what we've done together. But we're at a point now where I think we've checked off the boxes. I think we've checked the boxes off, and it's time for us. I want to empower you. I want to call you to action and help us put some processes and definitions around the investment in the people that we're carefully going to be bringing on board to execute what we need to do going forward. So I thought today would be a day for us, and I got this idea from the faculty who signed the architectural book. They signed this book. They put their names on it for the Integrated Human Health and Humanities team. They signed their name. And so I thought today I would start by asking for your commitment to the work that's in front of us in the future of this university by signing and putting your name on a document that will be available out here, and your signature is your commitment to the future of this university and the potential for this university. These will be carried throughout the Convocation week, and I'd like for us to commit by writing our name on this so that we can sign it and we can author the story that we've written. We will frame these and we will place these at prominent locations at the university. But I would ask for everyone to sign it, and I will begin that by putting my name on it, and I would ask that all of you do the same. So I'd like to, that is Convocation for 2019. We've invested 2 hours celebrating our people. We've invested some time recognizing the work of what happened last year. And we know where we're going. We've got a clear vision that a lot of people want us to define, and I'm going to ask us to hold back on that. We've got a concrete mission. We've got a set of values. We've got 10 initiatives, and we've got the funding, and we've got the support of our governors and our chancellor, who will be visiting our campus very soon. I empower all of us to work together and to do what we need to do. I thank all of you for being here, and I wish all of you a wonderful semester. Thank you.